In America, when people think of the Japanese car company Subaru, they think lesbians, vape bros, and old people who drive 15 below the speed limit. But in the rest of the world, they think this. If there's one car that represents performance for Subaru, it's the Impreza WRX STI. The Impreza took Subaru from a relatively unknown company to being known globally for performance after winning 6 FIA World Rally Championships. But if you don't follow motorsports, it can be hard to see what makes this car so legendary. Let's explore the performance side of Subaru by looking at the events leading up to the Impreza WRX STI's North American release.
Every year in the United States, there are nearly 20 million new sexually transmitted infections, or STIs.
Oh shit, wrong tape. Let me start at the beginning. In 1988, Subaru created a motorsports division called Subaru Tecnica International. 1 year later, a 4-cylinder boxer engine was made called the EJ257, nicknamed Boxer after its horizontally opposed piston design. A turbocharged EJ257 was paired with symmetrical 4-wheel drive in the Legacy RS. STI took this car and made the Legacy RS Type RA, meaning Rally Sport Record Attempt. It was built to break the FIA World Speed Endurance record. STI broke the record driving 62,000 miles over the course of 18 days, averaging 138 miles per hour. Next stop, the World Rally Championship. The Legacy showed potential, but a more agile chassis was required to stay competitive. So in 1992, a compact sedan was created called the Impreza. The rival Mitsubishi did the same, going from the Galant to the Lancer. Turbocharged performance trims of the Lancer and Impreza came in the form of the Impreza World Rally Experimental and Lancer Evolution. Both quickly became known for their budget performance. To most people, these just look like cheap economy cars because they are. They're special because they served as the production base for motorsports like Group A Rally, otherwise known as a homologation special. (1994) was the year Subaru introduced the WRX STI. This car was made for 2 reasons: showcase rally-proven technology and better compete with the Lancer Evolution. The WRX STI featured a driver-controlled center differential. The DCCD works as a limited slip differential between front and rear axles, technology that came from the need to control 4-wheel drive's inherent understeer in the WRC. As I mentioned earlier, the Impreza made Subaru known globally for performance, except nobody watches rally in America. I work with a bunch of car guys. None of them watch the WRC, but they all seem to know the Lancer Evolution and Impreza WRX STI. So where did demand for Japanese performance cars in North America come from? Popular media like Gran Turismo, Initial D, and The Fast and the Furious influenced young people in North America to become interested in Japanese cars. In 2002, Subaru released the 2nd generation Impreza WRX. The GD platform was based on the 1st generation GC platform, but improved for more torsional rigidity and stability. Its bug-like appearance was backed by 227 horsepower. In 2003, Mitsubishi debuted the Lancer Evolution 8. Equipped with a 271 horsepower 2-liter turbocharged engine. To meet US emission regulations and a $30,000 price point, they lowered horsepower and gave it a fully mechanical 4-wheel drive system. The trick adjustable center differential and active yaw control rear differential were removed. And 1 week later, Subaru delivered their top gun, the 2004 Impreza WRX STI. Road and Track said, just by looking at the performance numbers, the Subaru Impreza WRX STI can be classified as a sports car. Its 0 to 60 mph acceleration time of 4.9 seconds and 13.3 second quarter mile beats purpose-built sports cars like the Acura NSX and Porsche 911 Carrera. The STI provides the best combination of performance, value, and practicality. Its boy racer styling included elements like blistered fenders, a giant hood scoop, and a big-ass wing. World Rally Blue paint and gold BBS wheels pay tribute to the Rally Car's 555 cigarette sponsor. It even has an intercooler spray button to lower intake air temperature and reduce heat soak on your way to the grocery store. The WRX STI seemed like the perfect car until owners started to discover its weak point. In Japan, the WRX STI had a 2-liter EJ20. For North America, Subaru built a 2.5-liter EJ257 with even more power, 300 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Today, that's not impressive, but back in 2004, it was a big deal. It was the most powerful 4-cylinder you could buy. Unfortunately, the engine became known as the weak point in terms of durability thanks to cracked piston ringlands. However, I see a lot of problems start with the nut behind the wheel. Some owners are quick to add modifications, but never check to see if their engine has oil in it. Buying a used WRX STI is like playing a game of automotive Russian roulette. The overall feeling this car gives is confidence in any weather condition. From the factory, it's set up with understeer, but adjustments can be made to change that. Despite being one of the most hated engines out there, the EJ has character through its power delivery and sound. After turbo lag, you're hit with a wave of boost and then you have to shift, and its unequal length exhaust manifold creates a unique low-pitched rumble. The short ratio 6-speed gearbox feels mechanical, and its gearing favors back roads over top speed. The 4-pop Brembo brakes feel great on the street and are probably the most expensive consumable on the car, unless you consider the engine a consumable. Some people do. Handling is great for a sedan, but it's not as direct as a sports car. Exceed corner entry and you just get understeer because the engine's ahead of the front axles. Trail braking is the key to unlocking rotation in this car. The interior is basic, but everything you touch has feedback to help control the car. The steering wheel communicates every road imperfection and lets you know how much grip is at the front. Despite poor bolstering for my body, the seat tells you how much grip is at the rear. Which brings us to the 4-wheel drive system.
Subaru 4WD.
This 2005 WRX STI has 3 limited slip differentials. Up front is a helical differential, followed by the driver-controlled center differential, then a mechanical clutch rear differential. The DCCD is designed to give the stability of 4-wheel drive and the turning performance of a front-engine rear-wheel drive car. By adding lock to the center differential, the DCCD clutches increase engagement and move drive torque forward when traction is needed. On the flip side, you can unlock the center differential to 0%, which keeps the car at its inherent 35-65 torque distribution for turning performance. The driver can control the amount of lock in manual mode or leave it up to the car in auto mode. This feature is reserved for the WRX STI model and helps reduce a lot of the understeer felt in the regular WRX. People on the internet love to hate Subaru. I read things like how the Lancer Evolution is the best car of all time and Subaru is garbage, but reviews by professional drivers don't align with any of that. So what's the truth?
Okay, guys, listen very carefully. Yeah, you just put this in there and then
This is my friend Ken. He's a JDM master who has more experience with the Lancer and Impreza than anybody I know. But I'll let him tell you.
Back in the 90s, I actually had the chance to work with Mitsubishi in the Rally Art division. So I was involved also in Group N and the WRC. At that time, I was, still a developing engineer, and I also ended up helping to develop some of the parts that would eventually go into the future Lancer Evolutions from the 7 onwards in terms of the 4-wheel drive. And having competed in also Group N myself in Rally, I had a chance to see how these cars actually acted on different surface like tarmac, gravel, deep mud, loose stones, and snow.
All right, tell me straight, which is better, Lancer Evolution or Impreza WRX STI?
Now, that is a very hard question to answer, Quinton, because there is no answer. one is not better than the other.
All right, let me rephrase that. How is the Lancer Evolution different from the WRX STI?
After driving and comparing each generation, sometimes I cannot decide which is better for what job. The Subaru Impreza and the Lancer Evolution are both same type of cars, right? Four-wheel drive, turbocharged, sedan, homologated, designed for rally and for circuit driving. But the way that they exclude the engine power, the way they move, the way the torque comes out, the power comes out, the way they enter the corner, the way they exit the corner, the way they feel when you're on different surfaces, it's actually completely different. It's as different as iPhone and Android, as PlayStation and Xbox. You can put it that way. They achieve the same, but they're actually very different. Lance Evolution actually became something quite hardcore, a bit more competition focused. It was something that was aimed specifically for to compete with cars like RX-7, like the Skyline GTR, and that was also true in Split IQ racing. So the flavor of both these cars sort of becomes Subaru's become more towards like a general driving, something that is more usable daily. Therefore, on the stock setting, sometimes it understeers a little bit, but this is actually safer for normal drivers to anticipate and drive in all different environments. Some people like high tech; they want to use the technology of the car, which of course Mitsubishi is really good for. Maybe I could say it's got the most advanced four-wheel drive system, whereas Subaru is more about driver's experience. It doesn't mean it cannot handle. It doesn't mean it cannot go fast, but it's at a kind of easier level for people to get into.
All right, we've talked about the objective differences. Now tell me what your opinion is. It's got to be the Mitsubishi, right?
So, actually, I have a Subaru Impreza WRX STI.
Wait, you're a Mitsubishi guy. I thought Subaru was the enemy.
Well, I'm not a Mitsubishi guy. I mean, I used to work there. And yeah, so because I've tried both, for me, my preference becomes what Subaru driving style is, actually. So, Quinton, I have a question for you, actually. So, in Japan, Subaru cars have an image of being very safe, a bit quirky, but very different, with very, good style, good performance. But I heard from an American friend that in your country, it's got image by Nani? Lesbian? Why?
Yep, this is true. We're going to have to save that for another video, though, Ken, all right?
Okay, I want to hear about that next time. Okay. And vapors as well.
After this generation of WRX STI, there was a change in the direction of the automotive industry. Due to the economic recession, Subaru quit the WRC in 2008. Then, the Lancer Evolution was killed off in 2015. The WRX STI still had the same engine from 2004, making roughly the same power output. In 2021, North American customers were caught off guard when the WRX STI was canceled. Subaru said regulations are changing too fast for a new car to make sense. Let's face it, it's kinda hard to meet emission regulations when you have an engine that's 80s technology with the fuel economy of a truck. Today, STI competes in the Nürburgring 24-hour with the regular WRX. There's still demand for a more extreme performance version of the WRX. Will history repeat itself, or do we live in a different time that doesn't support a halo performance car like the WRX STI?